You're listening to the Love Unplugged podcast, episode 88. Today on Self Saturdays, I'm talking about my journey to self-love and how we can create a self-love practice. Self-love is such an important topic, and it's something we all need to make a priority in our lives. The benefits that I have experienced personally since starting my own journey have been incredible, and I would love for you to experience the same. So without further ado, let's get to it. Hey there, I'm your host, Jessica Fergon, and I am passionate about doing the inner work needed to reach your goals. Let me be your guide as we navigate all the fears and insecurities that surface when it's time to step outside of your comfort zone. Along with my knowledgeable guests and industry experts, I'm here to teach you how to reawaken your life purpose and passion and create the steps to turn your intentions into action. Ultimately, my goal is to empower you to rise above those blocks holding you back and start living a life that you are worthy and deserving of. So come on, it's time to slow down, find a comfy spot with your favorite organic tea, and get inspired. Thank you for tuning in to the Love Unplugged podcast. Happy Saturday morning, loves. I'm so honored to have you join me for another Self Saturdays episode. But before we start, I want to share how I'm setting myself up for today. Today I am sipping on some roasted dandelion root tea with almond milk and honey. It is my favorite replacement for coffee as it's creamy and semi-sweet. I'm also diffusing Refresh from Sage as it's quite smoky outside today and I wanted the air in my office to be refreshing. Now, today I'm going to share my journey with self-love, where I started, and some of the steps that I took personally. Also, towards the end of the episode, so you're going to want to stick around, I'll be sharing a new offering that I have available that will help you guys create your own self-love practice. So growing up, I wasn't really taught about self-love. I don't even remember the words self-love ever being said in my household, around me, with my friends, none of that. Taking care of yourself in my house when I was really young was basically showering, being clean, taking vitamins, and eating organic foods. Then my mom began her own self-discovery journey, and I watched and tagged along, not really understanding what it was all about. And then, just like many teenagers and those in their early 20s, I took advantage of my health. I ate so much fast food because when I was young, I wasn't allowed fast food. The sweets in my house was like regular Cheerios. And then exercise? What was that? I danced at the nightclubs for hours on end, but aside from that, there was no exercise or any kind of movement. I didn't have control over any of my thoughts, and I would feed my negative beliefs with even more garbage thoughts. And I was self-conscious about my body. I hated how my thighs looked, and I said really negative things about them as well. I didn't do any work on my personal growth. I didn't even know what meditation was, and the list goes on and on. These things weren't as well known or talked about 15 years ago or so, or at least in my world they weren't. And then things got much worse when I had to step up to support my family following a very serious health crisis. My needs were no longer a priority, and honestly, I'm okay with what happened because I'm happy that I was able to show up for my family and be there in that time of need. But I definitely see that the lack of self-love that I had at the beginning made the entire situation even worse. My health deteriorated quite dramatically. I was beyond exhausted all the time. I wasn't eating nutritious meals anymore. My hygiene was very poor because I was so tired. I was depressed, angry, frustrated. My emotions were so out of balance because I wasn't dealing with them. I had to shove them down because there was no time to deal with them. I would cry, serious, ugly cries at a moment's notice because it was bubbling just right beneath the surface at all times. It was such a dark time for me. I had completely lost myself in the process. And then following a chat with my mom, I made the decision to get control back of my life, one step at a time. I started this blog and a tiny flame began to flicker inside. It was the very first step that I took to begin my own self-discovery journey. I looked at my life and I figured out what I wanted my life to actually look like. And then from there, I determined what I needed to focus on to get to that healthier place. The very first thing I did was to focus on my physical state, because if I didn't have the energy, I wouldn't be able to do much of anything else, really. Then I focused on my mental and emotional state by seeing a counselor and reading anything that I could to help me deal with my emotions and control my thoughts. Your thoughts and your emotions are incredibly powerful, and they have such an impact on what you attract into your life. I've always been told as well that emotions can manifest into illness in the body, so it's so important to deal with them. Next, I looked at boundaries because I had none. I was living my life for everybody else at that point, and this was probably one of my hardest steps, learning to say no and being okay with disappointing people. But it was absolutely necessary to make more room for me in my life. And today, after many years of practicing no, I have zero issues saying no to things that I don't want to do or even have time for. It doesn't even faze me anymore. Next was my relationships. They were my next priority to look at, and I took the time to reflect on which relationships were draining or bringing me down, and which relationships were supporting, encouraging, and uplifting. And I made the decisions to let some of them go that were no longer serving me in the direction that I was wanting to head in. And this was just the start. I truly learned along the way that self-love is an actual journey. It's not something that you can just set and forget. So you just arrive at this place of self-love and you're good to go for the rest of your life. It's something that you need to work on every single day. And what's truly amazing is that it changes as you evolve. So it grows as you grow. And today I am in such a better state than I ever was. It is remarkable how much practicing self-love has changed every area of my life. And I want you to experience the same thing. So that being said, I have compiled the steps that I took and created a 14 steps to self-love guide to help you create your own practice and take your current practice to the next level. Now, this guide is short and it's easy to follow. It'll take you through step by step, teaching you how to show up for yourself on all levels, mind, body, and soul. This guide is short and very easy to follow. It will take you through step by step, teaching you how to show up for yourself on all levels, mind, body, and soul. A journey to self-love doesn't have to be complicated, but you do have to start somewhere, so why not start here? So head on over to www.projectloveco.com and sign up for my love letters, and you'll receive my free self-love guide. Now give it a try. If it doesn't click for you right away, keep trying. I promise you it's worth it. It took me some time for things to stick and feel right when I was doing them because I was so out of alignment. And remember, self-love looks different for everyone, but the most important takeaway is learning how to tap into your specific needs and allow yourself the space and room for those needs to grow and evolve along with you. So that wraps up another Self Saturdays episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I would love to hear your thoughts on these episodes. Are you liking them? Is there a certain topic that you want to hear from me on? I definitely want to know. So reach out to me. I would love to connect with you. You can either rate and review the episode itself, or you can head over to my Instagram. My handle is @ProjectLoveCo, and send me a DM. I would love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to sign up for my love letters to receive that And don't forget to sign up for my love letters through my website so that you can receive this self-love guide and start your practice as well. So I hope that you have a wonderful Saturday, and I hope that you take some time to invest in yourselves today. I'm Jessica, and thanks for tuning in today to Love Unplugged, the podcast. If there are any questions or topics you'd love answered on the show, head on over to www.projectloveco.com and share your request with me. If you haven't yet, go to iTunes and subscribe, rate, and review this podcast and share it with a loved one. Your feedback means the world to me, and the community we've created is what fuels our discussions here. After all, this is all for you. Join me next time for another unplugged conversation.